Hello and welcome. We present you this video as an important funding campaign that we created because we need to build a fence around our property, add privacy screens, etc. And this is all security for our grandchildren or my grandchildren, teens and minors or teenies, underage friends of the daughters. Okay, she's a teenager that visit our residence in Auckland, New Zealand. Okay, and we're looking at trying to generate $3,000 or more because we have to buy the materials. They don't come cheap. There is a discount on at the moment, but it's just mainly screens. It's not actually fences and gates, etc. The screens would be great for the porch area, the back porch area, but we really need a fence built around the entire front of our property because we have a major problem with a neighbour living at the back. Here's a short summary of this campaign. I am a computer technician. Obviously I am a content creator because I have this YouTube channel. Entrepreneur in problem solutions and resolutions, but this one is proving really tough for different reasons. Our campaign is extremely important as a reliable solution to the ongoing problem, as it keeps not only our grandchildren or my grandchildren, daughters and adopted daughters, babies, preteens, teens and sons and grandsons and their local neighbourhood children safe. We've got them in mind as well. What generous contributors to our campaign will help us achieve is greater security and assurance where the landlord real estate agency won't help us and police can't, or they can't be bothered. This is important not only to us but for the local community we live in. What we need and what you get. We need about New Zealand $3,000 or more, as the materials needed can range from $25 New Zealand to New Zealand $99 to New Zealand $130 per metre, or 10,800 millimetres, and so high and width and height, from local store, Bunnings, Hardware, Mount Roskill, Auckland, New Zealand, or Mitre 10 or similar hardware store. This is on a great discount day where the normal retail cost has been lowered, making it much cheaper to purchase. If we don't reach our entire goal, the funds will go to help the homeless or to a hospital for kids who suffer cancer, etc., i.e. Canteen New Zealand. The impact. Our campaign is extremely important as a reliable solution to the ongoing problems, as it keeps not only our grandchildren or my grandchildren, daughters and adopted daughters, babies, preteens, teens and sons, grandsons and local neighbourhood children safe. Have a lot of adopted daughters, not legally, but many of them are the daughters' friends who have come to our house and maybe their partner's abusive, beating them up, or having a bad relationship, or their parent is drunk and abusing them, all that sort of stuff, right? So they come to our house and I tell them, you're safe here, okay, you do what you want to do, remember you're underage, etc., like that, you'll be safe here. But when the parents come, well, I don't have any power because they're the biological parents, so they have to go with them, right? They have to leave. That's the parental right if they're under age 15 to 18. It's the law here, right? Okay, so it's all good, and they're good with that. Parents are very good too. They're like so thankful that their 15-year-old daughter or whatever is here with the daughter, being a friend of the daughter, and safe, and it's been given food and all that, taken care of. So sometimes they donate food specifically for their child, right? Or it's their gratitude, right? So we do quite well through our kindness, our charity and our help of their children. Okay. We have no successful track record with projects like this or campaigns like this, but our YouTube channel, The Ministry of the Real Truth, at the link here, states that we have honesty is our best policy as our channel, congregation and business policy, and we strongly believe in chivalry. That's where a man's word is his word and he should stick to it, honour it, etc. We can provide proofs, evidences of where, if we don't reach our entire goal, the money's going to go upon request. Risk and challenges. We will overcome these hurdles through your and others' generous help donations and provide evidence of the work done to secure our property, etc. We have consulted the landlord and agency of our rental, and due to their budget they can't build us a fence, allow us a hedge, or allow us to create a hedge, or create one for us, and won't allow us a small guard dog to scare off the offending neighbour, because he doesn't like dogs. If you can't help donation wise, please get the word out. Maybe you have a very influential friend, politician friend in our area, Mount Roskill, Auckland, New Zealand, who can make some noise about our campaign. Don't forget to use the Indiegogo share tools. I use the tags for the project. Okay, we blurred out other offers, money makers, because it's not relevant to us. Okay, we've done a video on when the landlord won't help and the authorities can't do a thing. Okay. We have all these options here. So it's a draft campaign. We couldn't go any further because it kept saying that the bank account that we provided for the donations to go into is invalid. It's not an invalid bank account. It's just this website, right, being international, probably in the USA or something like that. We did validate our ID and went to Stripe and it asked us some questions, and I guess it's either validated our ID or it's still doing it through a third party, and that's probably why the bank account is seen as invalid. So we will put the optional PayPal accounts down the bottom, so you can donate to that. We do have a Patreon account, but we've got to look for that link. We thought we had it on a hard drive somewhere. We just can't seem to find it anywhere, so we have to go through our address books or whatever and see if we can find it and put that down the bottom as well. Or look at one of our other videos and then get that link and put it down the bottom. So there's three options there. So if you like this, should we play this video? How long is it? 3 minutes and 6 seconds long. Okay. Hello. We feel that we need to make this video, and it's requested of us to make a video to explain why we need funding. Well, we have a residential property in New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand, at a certain address, and we have a problem with a neighbour, next door neighbour, who is mentally slow. His English is terrible, and he keeps trespassing on the property. We have no fence. We've asked former Housing New Zealand, now calling the order, if they can build a fence. No, it's not within their budget. The landlady seems to think that we're making up stories that the Indians next door are throwing rocks. Their kids are throwing rocks at the garden shed, or the outside shed, or throwing their shoes on there. And the Indians we confronted next door, who own those children, think it's a joke. We've had neighbours at the back jumping the fence, or one in particular stealing items. One, the slower guy, pulling up the plants. He came to visit and he said something like, well, my sister said she talked to you and said that you said it's okay for him to come and rip up these taro plants, right? It's a Samoan delicacy or food that they eat over there, right? So we swapped taro plants for something else. A good deal, right? We grew them, and then he came over and he wanted to cut them. That's what we thought. Cut the leaves off. So he said, yeah, you can cut the leaves off, no problem, because we don't really use them. You know, people who say, oh, we'll come and teach you how to use it for meals or whatever, they never come back, right? They never got around to it. So these things grew huge. They sort of get in the way of the overgrow garden, whatever. So he said, yeah, you can cut them. But he starts pulling them up. He said, no. We said you can cut them. Okay. But he starts pulling them up. And then we find that he put them in the rubbish bin for the rubbish collection the next day, because the taro roots on the end of it weren't actually like round and, you know, how we usually find them in the shops here. That because they've been in the ground too long apparently. Yeah, so come out the next day and he's taken all the plants because we had some more growing. He's ripped them all up. And then for some uncanny unknown reason put up a old bed barrier on the side fence by our garage. And he come back the next day because we had a pumpkin plant there, etc. It was dying, and it's going yellow, it's dying, but the leaves were green, and there might be a chance that as it grows over the small fence, or around the small fence, it might grow some pumpkins. But the barrier had been thrown forward onto the grass, and he's leaned over the fence and ripped up that plant. Yeah, so, sorry, it suddenly cut off like that. We only had 3 minutes. That's what Indiegogo suggested, a 3-minute video, no longer. But we will have put the full video version, probably about 20 minutes or something long, up on our channel or our channels, so you can hear the full content. Okay, so if you liked that little video and you like this campaign idea and you wish to contribute, you're a local Aucklander or New Zealander, we have an ASB account, we have a PayPal account. We'll put those links down the bottom. Yeah, you might be able to help. You might be able to help if you're international as well, worldwide. You might have that influence. You might have a friend that's a politician with influence, etc., etc., in that local area or in the Auckland, New Zealand area. So if you like this video and this campaign idea, then please subscribe to our channel, give us a like, add your comments below, and we'll get back to you on those as soon as we can. And go share this video with your friends, family, neighbours, strangers, etc., making them aware, if you're in that Mount Roskill area, a community, or close by, that there is a guy, a predator, walking around. He's non-convicted, he hasn't been caught and charged yet, so he's non-registered with the police or that paedophile list. We don't want harm to come to him and all that sort of stuff, because he is a nice guy and like he's mentally challenged or slow. Yeah, we wouldn't want to see that sort of thing happen to him. And we don't want people picketing on our front lawn, you know, saying you knew, you know, and start throwing rocks and stale scones at us and all that sort of stuff. We don't need that sort of crap. But we just want to make people aware that there's a guy walking around the street with glasses on, and it looks like he's innocently going for a walk, but he could be casing out the other little children in the area, right? So yeah, just wake up and be alert. Okay, we do know, we have verification that he is a kitty toucher, to put it nicely, because he has abused someone close to us years ago, but they didn't say anything until they were pre-teen. It's too late, we can't do anything, even though we have other relations that if they had done it to their daughter, well, our niece as well, yeah, end of life for that guy. Don't wish any of that upon him or his family. We have spoken to his older brother, well, his sister, when she was alive. Yeah, and she scolded and all that sort of stuff. She had him under control, but then she passed away. And then the brother, we spoke to the brother, and he says he tries to tell him, you know, even in his own language, but he just doesn't seem to register in his brain. It doesn't compute in there. And what he does with the rubbish bins, he goes around and collects all the neighbours' rubbish bins, especially elderly people, you know, they're in a chair or they can't walk or whatever. You just walk on there and you take their rubbish bins and, you know, ask them for plants and stuff like this. Yeah, he can be a bit of a pest to them as well. We got threatened by a neighbour who happened to marry have married a European. He was a Samoan alpha male, stubborn as, and he said, cut it out, cut out what you're doing. It's like, what are we doing? Are you going and collecting the rubbish bins and knocking on the window at maybe 2 in the afternoon asking him for money? You know, someone with broken English was doing that, and says, well, it ain't me, you know. This guy is quite arrogant, being an alpha male, all that sort of stuff. So I suggested go ask the guy at the back. It's probably him, right? Stuff like that. So he put up barriers on the front porch, but this guy walks around, sees these young females, sneaks up behind them when they're alone, breathes down their neck, blows on their neck, talks to them sexually, you know, sexual suggestions, and touches them. So many of these teens that are sitting out there having a cigarette, whatever, they're now scared. They don't want to come around because they think he's a creep, all that sort of stuff, right? He's been creepy. So we thought we'd build this big fence, or get this big fence built, so you know these adopted daughters could come back, and everything's like visually, you know, blocked. So you can't stop him walking down the footpath of the property, right? Of his property, right? Walking to his letterbox, but we've got to stop him trespassing, coming across the lawn and talking to them and taking or ripping up plants, etc., etc. He's good for some uses, like I can make a mess digging the garden and stuff, pull out all the weeds and leave it there. That guy will clean it up. But yeah, you can't do that to someone like that, right? You know. But he's very helpful like that. But other times he's chopping the tree down with a machete, you know, when it's unnecessary, and he's pulling up the plants. He says, I'll cut it, and he's pulling them up. Or he's stealing plants. Or he's standing out in the rain, watching us walk through the gate of our property with his eye on the niece or whatever, I don't know what